Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Nice to see you, Sadi.
Shalom.
Shalom, Baruch. Shalom, everyone. You know, this message is it's so powerful because it is so easy for us to make false gods. And you know, that whole idea of us looking up to see the bronze serpent, it's so natural for us to take a thing and to worship it, to take, whether it's even be something that we do, something that, you know, it's so easy for us to not trust God. And it's so clear about this picture of the Nehushtan. And as you said, Mauricio, later on, the people were worshiping this image, and King Hezekiah had to tear it down. And you know, I remember when Rabbi used to say that was why Moshe wouldn't be allowed to enter the promised land, because even he himself, the people would go from hating him to worshiping him. He became, you know, that book that was written, Moshe Redivivus, where they spoke about Moshe being, you know, divine. It's easy for us to make man into divinity, you know, and how I believed it too. If all I had to do was look up at Yeshua on the pole, but the snake on the pole didn't die for the sins of the people. You know, they believe things that make no sense when it comes to the Torah, which is why they had to get rid of the Torah in order to be able to promote these false beliefs. Because if you read the Torah, it is all so clear. Beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you, Mauricio.
Yeah, thank you, Mauricio. I liked also what, like, it's so easy to be fooled, even if your intentions are good. Like the obvious things, okay, we can talk about, worshiping a thing or whatever, but even if you're not at that point, but it's more subtle even than that. You know, things that appear as the truth could be a philosophy, a good philosophy, or it's so easy to be fooled, and yet God's message is really simple. It's really always boils down to a trust issue.
Everything is about trust.
Because even if you believe the wrong things, but with the right heart, I know that sounds crazy, but it's more like what goes on in your heart. You know, a lot of people, you know, I know, for example, Catholic people or Muslims who love God with all their heart, and you could see by their actions that they really love God, but it's a little mishkabibble, the things they believe. So it's even beyond what you believe, but how you believe. It's your heart, and it's but even you can be deceived so easily, you know.
Exactly, and the whole understanding that Rabbi brought us about Tameh and Tahor, where how is it possible by just touching a dead body that we could become unclean? Is there something in the physical body that makes us unclean? It had nothing to do with physicality. It's the spiritual. It's being able to approach God. You know, but I thought of the idea that says when you go into the tent, and there's a dead body there. Well, when would somebody go into the tent? When someone in the family would die, and they would be so, you know, distraught, and so, you know, they had to, for 7 days, they had to make themselves clean. That, to me, that was sitting Shiva. You know, they had to sit Shiva, and then they would be able to say, okay, now I can approach God again, because our soul is so downtrodden, our soul is so upset, that how in that moment can we approach God? These are all very practical teachings, and we make everything so ethereal. So, you know, it's like you said, two sides of the same coin. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
Well, because things could see. I mean, like what did you say resembles silver? A metal that's like silver.
all that is glitters is not gold. It's like you
Yeah,
said,
no, but there's a metal.
zirconia. That look,
Okay, yeah, a diamond, whatever. So
yes,
it's easy to be fooled.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And I know because in the New Age, we were taught many things that are half truths, and we would sing songs to Jesus, but the Jesus of the New Age was a very different Jesus than Christianity, who was a very different Jesus than our Yeshua, our Rabbi. So it's easy to fool people. You just repeat a falsehood often enough, and people begin to believe it.
Just another thing quickly. Aren't we still saying a Kaddish for Mina?
Once a month now.
What?
Once a month now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
the first month we do it every week. Then it's once a month, and then it's once a year.
Because she died on May. It doesn't matter, but well, she
I
died May 27th. Okay.
But it's the Hebrew calendar we go by.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to add this. You know, it's not really, I would say, Miriam, Moshe, and Aaron who has the powers. Okay.
Right.
So the point is, let me turn off this. Okay. Okay. The point is that people trying to think, obviously, on the persons. Okay, they have the power.
Right.
They don't have it. No human has powers.
Right.
Everything is a gift from the Lord. Okay, that's we are clear. Then what happened is that this three-person has some characteristics that that made that God granted these gifts. For example, Miriam, she has the gift of the well, obviously, because that is something that brings you life. Without water, nobody can live, right? So, but if we go at the beginning of Exodus, we read that she went into a water state, which is the river, okay, to say Moshe. And now, as a gift, now she's receiving water to save Israel, okay, in the desert. So every action we deal in some or some characteristics we deal in the past. Now God is rewarding us. Then we have Aharon, okay? Aharon, yes, probably he was not the perfect one during the golden calf, but honestly, he was uniting persons. He was looking for peace, for shalom, okay, to everyone. And it's interesting that the day after he died, okay, at Mount Hor, uh, immediately the next day appears Bilam, okay. So it's like, we never perceived that the column of clouds was with us, God protecting us, showing mercy, and now he died. Then this cloud disappears. So now we can be seen by our enemies, because it says that after he was buried at the Mount Hor, then the Balak look at them and call Bilam. So it's like the protection of God is no longer there. Then God, obviously, when he make the shuvah for in the future. Um, and then God protects them. Okay, and it's interesting that all these Balak and Bilam's story, nobody knew about that. They knew it's like a post story about what happened, because Israel was at the tents, as Bilam said, oh, be blessed Israel who dwells in tents. So they never look that someone was trying to curse them. Okay, they never perceived that. They were protected by God, obviously. So sometimes we don't know exactly, but in Judaism there is something that is very mystical. I've heard, which is the bad eye. Okay,
Evil eye, yeah.
evil eye, that everybody is like, even they buy some uh, it's not a necklace, it's something from the hand.
Bracelet.
Yeah, bracelet, in order to protect them. So hey, that shall not.
But my mother-in-law, who was born in Egypt, she did that. There's a picture of an evil eye. Like it has it's a blue pearl with an eye on it, and she put that in my daughter's crib when she was born.
Yeah.
From the
So
evil eye. Yeah.
it's but you know that doesn't have any power. If you have the protection of God, somebody can curse you.
Doesn't. Yeah.
And if God do not allow or decree something against us, and we are walking in his ways, then we are protected. Nothing can happen. You know, I remember that like, I don't know, probably 8 years ago, we were at some place in San Salvador, and then suddenly, I don't know from where, a guy with a gun start to assault everybody in the vehicles, because we were in a traffic jam. Then they knock the door in the vehicle we were in you know, we had to make the windows down, um, and these guys were with a gun machine.
Wow.
And with a person I was at that moment, they put a pistol on his how do you say, uh, in this part of the here. I don't know.
Side.
Yeah, at his side. And then the other one appears from, I don't know from where, and hits me with the gun. And at that moment, I remember that, you know, I was very with peace, with a peace that I cannot explain. Okay, yeah. I felt protected by God.
Wow.
And then I started to well, I did something I never did, because in Mauricio, what will I do in other times? Probably defend myself and try to take his gun out and get the gun for me. So, but I started to talk, you know, with a very easy way, and I start to say, what do you want? Do you want this vehicle? Take it. Do you want what? And then he started to fight, but when he hear my voice, he calmed down, because he was like, he was like a drug addict, honestly. He only took the cell phone, a watch. That's why I don't use watch anymore. And then he took I don't know. Some money I have in my pocket. Even he just take the money and bring me back my pocket at the moment, because I was like, okay, take whatever you want, but leave my documents, please. I said, and that's what he did. Um, and then after he left the car after the robbery, he went up to the next car behind us and he started to shoot.
Oh,
So it was like God protecting us. And then we just started to move, because obviously the traffic jam, probably when they saw what happened, they start to move the cars. Okay. And, 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 and and I saw the God protection at that moment,
um,
and that is what I look when we are in light. Then the protection of God is at any time with us, and the problem is like Israel never perceived that the well was by the merit of Miriam, that the protection of God was by the merit of Aaron. And after Moshe died, there was no more Torah. Okay. Then we start to look how they interpret the words of God, of the Torah. So um, the point is, sometimes we do not perceive what is around us. God is working. God, even if we don't feel, because today people rather go to feelings, and we see how the feelings make Moshe and Aaron make a mistake, okay, because of the feelings. So we don't have to move by feelings. People say, I don't feel the presence of God. You don't have to feel it.
right.
You have to know that the presence of God is with you at all time. Okay, so that is something I would like to add from the message. Um, and honestly, you know, when I start to see, for example, the truth with like the mashal of Yeshua, it came to my mind today that because I was looking for France, what happened in France at this moment,
Right.
with all these Muslims taking the streets, destroying stores, etc.
Yeah.
That is the very same. At the beginning, they were very peaceful people, and very good persons. Then after the plant grows, then start to show their fruits.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And it's not in 1 year, it's not in 1 month, probably takes more time. Okay. But it takes from 80s, I think, start to move people from Muslim countries to Europe. And not every Muslim is violent, but that is something that is within them, but that is because Ishmael, according to Genesis, it says that he was like a
Wild
donkey,
donkey. A wild.
wild donkey. Yeah, that is violent. So it's in their nice nature. So
And
uh,
they're using this exact same strategy as Saladin used in Jerusalem.
yeah,
They knew they couldn't win that way, but slowly they lived in peace there, and they allowed until the Crusaders were sent back because everything was peaceful, and that's when they attacked. But people don't
yeah.
learn history, because I think until we trust God, history will continue to repeat itself.
And now I believe that is something that God is allowing, because one of the countries who more attack Israel because they are defending themselves is France.
Right.
Okay. So now God is giving them a medicine for them. Hey, if you start to, okay, try try to control of these people just with words, and with, hey, you are doing something, what happened to you? No, they need to use the force to defend themselves. Now, who will condemn France? Or so it's like, returning back. And the last thing I would like to add is about purifying. It's interesting that the hyssop was using, and I remember that the Catholic Church used to use hyssops to make the blessings of the people.
Hyssop.
Yeah, and but it's interesting that God, with Ezekiel, gives another perspective of this purification. It says in Ezekiel chapter 35 that now God will purify us and give us a new heart.
Right.
So that is something really powerful, because it is like we were saying at the beginning of the message. People start to look for the instructions, for the physical, and not for the teaching. And now God is saying, no, I will purify all Israel. I am the water who purifies you.
Right.
Okay, gives you a new spirit, gives you a new heart, and people start to believe, is God giving really a new spirit? That the word probably is more a renovated spirit, okay? Because the spirit doesn't change,
No.
honestly.
Right.
So it's just that something came to your feel and twist and moved you to another perspective.
Right.
So that is how God purifies us today, okay, and clean from our sins, because that is the point. And then Yeshua, it says that honestly, that he said that John was baptizing people with the mikveh, okay, with the waters, which is a Essenian idea. But then he says, but God
Which is
will,
an idea, what, of these scenes?
the Essenes, yes. And then it says that God will come with fire to clean us. And it's interesting that if you match all these things with this portion of this heifer, the heifer was purifying by the hyssop with water, okay? Then you have the mikveh. And then what you have to do, according to what we read, is that all these heifer needs to be born to purify Israel. And so when he says, okay, and then God will send a fire to purify you, it's like saying, okay, it's like what happened in this portion. God is purifying Israel with water and by fire. So, but the point is, it's not the physical things that purify us. It's our heart making teshuvah. It's the very same idea of what we read about the serpent. It's not about, okay, it's looking to the serpent, yeah, recognizing that I'm like that serpent with my tongue, talking what is not good, but lifting my eyes to the creator, okay? So that is something I would like to add, okay?
Beautiful. These pictures, and it's so exciting, Mauricio, to listen to how you put all these things together. I love it. It's so, the things that were so easy for us to miss. It's wow, all these pictures are so coming alive. I love it. Wow.
Shabbat shalom. Okay, well, yeah. Let me see. Are you ready?
I
Are you ready?
was ready before.
When I read this, it blew my mind. The Lord, the Creator, opened my, when I was reading the portion,
Wow.
the entire Torah. This is talking about what? It's talking about cleanliness, right?
Right.
Think each one of you. If you think about cleanliness, if you have your hands dirty and you want to wash them, what is the product that you use?
Water.
And
Soap.
soap. The Creator is giving us the recipe of soap in this parasha. And I'm going to tell you how this is. Okay. In ancient times, okay, even though we didn't have the knowledge that we have today about chemistry and the knowledge of the effects of combining different ingredients, okay, and its reactions. Do you know that when we mix ingredients like lyre, which is obtained from the leaching wood ashes with water, and the fat of animals,
Right.
you have the elements of the sacrifice, the altar, okay, of the big red, that combining that, it will create like a chemistry together, which will create, remember that if we go to the scripture says that, and in verse 10, okay, in Numbers 19, verse 10 says that, and he who gathers the ashes of the heifer, okay, so that means that someone had to gather the ashes, put them outside, or far, like from, in order that Israel, or the entire community, could use that to clean themselves. Now, let me continue. Now, do you know that in ancient times, where men will offer sacrifices on the base of the altars, they notice that the accumulation of these ingredients will wash the side hill where the altar was, and they will find out that all will be washed. So this is how they found in all times that the combination of fat and this, it will create a sort of soap. Okay, now now the next thing is that sanitation and body cleanliness has always been a major preoccupation. Okay, and the consequences of lacking of hygiene and cleanliness could affect directly with the population growth. Remember, Israel is in the desert.
Right.
They need to keep hygiene, or if not, they will develop plagues, or they will, what happens to you if you don't wash yourself? Your skin will start having rashes, and so there you see that. Now, when you were talking about the Crusaders and how they couldn't go anywhere, it's because they were limited by their source of water. And most of them died because of the water. They couldn't wash themselves. They developed sickness and the drinking and all that. And okay, this is another thing where you were talking about the Crusaders, but anyway. But now the other thing that I wanted to say, it's I want to go to the to the main reason. Traditionally, let me read something, because I have a book here that is called The Art of Soap Making.
Oh, interesting.
That Patricia just mentioned that okay, so now listen to this. Traditional Christian dogma view the body of a temporary vessel of for the soul. Okay, so undue concern with the bodily functions was considered detrimental to the spirit, which means that
Wow.
what happens is that these dogmas, they're related, that the cleanliness of our body is related to the spiritual cleanliness. Okay, and this is why we see that in the Jewish culture too. Okay, it was very important, as we see the laws of the mikveh laws and other, to keep our bodies clean, and we made this relationship. Oh, sorry. So that was important of having, as we know in the time of Jerusalem, there were a few places where the people will go and they will have their own mikvahs, and and you look in the ancient uh,
Yeah, because no home
excavation.
had a shower. We are blessed today to have
Exactly,
access to
exactly.
shower.
More like that. They didn't have water sources like going to each of their houses, no?
Right.
So we can see that. And also another thing that is interesting is that when we read in the parasha that the ashes will be brought. Hold on, let me see this one. Yeah, well, they were brought, I cannot find the verse what it says. Just a second. It was put in a place where everybody would have access. So they would put it probably, in a place where it was clean, right? And everybody will go there. And if you see in all history, in all most of the towns, especially I can speak by what I know in Spain, for example, you will have these little towns, and it will be one place where the women, they will all go there and they will all do the laundry. Okay, so this is just to give you more idea about of this sense of washing, cleaning, and that it was part of that. Okay, now
I wonder if that's where they get that expression, cleanliness is next to godliness.
That is all because of the dogma, the Christianity, and also other facts that because it seems that here it says, okay, let me just read to you this part. Okay.
But it's interesting because I just while you're looking for that, it's just that I've noticed that in my own life, when I've gotten closer to God, what happens is my external world becomes more ordered and cleaner. It's just almost like a natural effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it has of course, if you take care of yourself, it's a reflection of what is within.
Yeah.
But
we're holistic beings, we're total beings.
But
even when people are depressed, they often find it very hard to clean themselves.
Somehow it shows you and your mind state of how much you care about your being as a as a soul, and then they make this relation that. But how many of these people that we see nowadays that they're famous and they are very clean, and they are not really clean at all.
No, right.
We cannot assume that is a proof of not everything that you see clean as a physical shows that it's also spiritual clean.
That's true.
Now, if you see, okay, now I was. I'm trying to read a little bit about the soapy alchemy, right? To try to understand why is all this work together. Because if you say, okay, you have water, you can wash, but with only water, you won't be able to wash everything. So it requires this combination of fat, and because what it does is, according to what I read, is that the water particles, they have the tendency to not how can I say? It's all okay. This is a mutual attraction of water molecules. It's balanced by the surface tension, so it prevents. It holds the water together all the time. So in order to separate this water, you add things like in order to create this soap, to break down the molecule, right? And then when you do this, you combine it with a lye, it creates like a particular chemical, all right, that enables the soap molecule to work as an emulsifying agent. A soap molecule looks like something like Okay, it will be like, okay, it will be, it says here that it looks like something like a caterpillar with the head within the hydrophilic or attracted to water. So here you create an agent that is going to attract the water, and the segments of the body of a chain, it will create the CH2, which is a group, anyways, it's a water repellent or hydrophobic. As a result, the soap molecule with its head soluble in water and its tail soluble in greasy dirt, they later on in ancient cultures like the Egyptians, like the Romans, they will, like Spain also, they will add, have you ever heard about the Castilian soap? They will add certain fragrance, they will add certain flowers, and they will add in order to perfection this soap. But remember, we are talking years before all this civilization. We're talking about Abraham, that was way before. But they didn't have all that in the desert, but they only could have access to water, ashes, and fat. So this was a way that the recipe that the creator gave us to preserve Israel from dying from diseases of like in this case, when we talk about in the parasha, we talk about the loss of if a man goes enters in a room where there is a body that was dead, or that if you leave that body for a few hours or more, we know that all the bacteria, all this whatever, it spreads all over the place, no? So it was a way of preventing Israel for getting sick, and using all this sprinkle, like kind of, it would be like we didn't have the
Spray, a spray.
the spray that we have now that you can get in the store, from the, no, it was a way of cleaning the state. So this is what is that. So now when we know, we cannot go to spiritualize or to I'm this is the main
Beautiful. Thank you, Angel. Beautiful teaching. I never thought of that. Good. Well, I'd like to just close the recording, and then I'd like to chat a little bit maybe with Sadi, but we'll close the recording for now. And we'll say goodbye to the people who are watching this recording. And thank you for joining us, and we wish you a Shabbat Shalom.